Oliveira, a different Oliveira. He's got a fight tomorrow. I weighed in about 40 minutes ago. And, they're out in Brazil. A big fight coming up tomorrow. Oliveira's Brazilian. It's a big deal. Almost even an honor that he gets put on it. I would not dare to go quite as far as that for the Brazilians, that it's like the Americans with what you're seeing at the White House card. But it's of that realm. It's very much of that realm. It's a very big deal to be a fighter in Brazil, in the octagon in Brazil. All right. He's going to fight at 135 pounds, which per Kabata as well as other sanctioning bodies means he gets to weigh in at 136 pounds. Don't ask me to explain that. It's 135-pound fight means you get to weigh in at 136 pounds. He shows up at 144 pounds. 1 pound under the next weight limit above. Now, I'm very good with the rules, but when you start leaving America, you start to have some nuances. So I will disclose to you I don't actually know this rule, but it is very possible. You can't, if you miss weight, be above the next weight class up. And in many jurisdictions, I'll just give you an example, New York, you can't outweigh your opponent. I believe that number is 20 pounds. Now, that has created a massive problem because one time on accident, just to share a story with you guys, not what they were thinking, but what ended up happening is two guys fought at heavyweight. So one guy comes in at 220, one guy comes in at 265. They got to cancel the fight because they've got that rule. Now, I'm only sharing with you that when Oliveira shows up at 144, which coincidentally is 1 pound under the next weight limit, it does make me wonder, did he cut weight to get to 44? Did he cut weight to not violate the rule that would actually call the entire fight off? And the reason I call this into question, and whether I'm accurate on the intricacy or not, intricacy, idiosyncrasy, is that the word I'm looking for? All right. Whether I'm accurate or not, he shows up to the scale at 144. I want you to make sure that you understand this. The opponent shows up at 136, which he's allowed to weigh. Why is that relevant? That's a dick move, man. That's a dick move. Let me just give you another example. Brian Ortega is going to miss weight. He is not going to be able to make weight for the Lopez fight. It was 3 a.m. Ortega tells his manager, Tiki, the first thing Tiki does is call Team Lopez. He wakes them up. He lets them know. Drink. Don't get up. Don't get in the sauna this morning. Don't suffer anymore. Here is what we have done. Oliveira didn't do that. Oliveira shows up at 44, possibly cutting to 44. I don't know. He lets the opponent make weight. I'm just sharing for you, that is a dick move to understand the level of suffering that a fighter in that situation is going through. Dehydration is very rare. And I know you hear that term all the time. Teachers will tell you, parents tell you in the summertime, make sure you drink, stay hydrated. It is so wildly uncommon. It is so wildly unbelievable that you've ever been dehydrated or that you've ever met a human that's dehydrated, no matter how many times people talk to you about dehydration. It's something that requires incredible effort. It doesn't just happen like people try to tell you. And it is one of the worst experiences. It is one of the most uncomfortable experiences. It's an extremely rare experience. Many people will diet. Many people will try to lose weight. Cutting weight is not losing weight. Cutting weight is after you've lost the weight, now you pull the water. Cutting weight expressly means to dehydrate. I'm only sharing with you the misery. And there's only one of two ways that guys in our sport do that. They either do it the night before so they can just lay in bed hope to get an escape from the torture that is the dehydration, and it's called cotton mouth, and your whole body is functioning in a very different way, but guys will do it, and then they'll just hold that weight. They'll hold that weight for 8 to 10 hours while they sleep. The weigh-ins are at 9 a.m. They'll largely just toss and turn and never get any sleep because they're so wildly uncomfortable. That's one option. That's the one I did. And the only other option is to set your alarm, get up early, pull it, and run it right down to the wire. You'll see guys do that as well. The weigh-in begins at 9 a.m. Everybody weighs in from 9 to 9:15, 9:20. Somebody else, right? The weigh-in's all the way open until 11. Somebody else shows up at 10:50 and they're sweating. They show up and they're pulling their sweats off as they got on. That's an option that you can do as well. But there is a almost unexplainable misery that you will go through. The number one reason any combat athlete retires, it is not contractually, it's not because he's made enough money, it's not because he's done what he wanted to do in the sport. That's only what he says. The number one reason a combat athlete retires is he no longer wants to beat the scale. Khabib himself did not retire because he was done fighting or didn't want to go to 30-0. He no longer wanted to weigh 155 pounds. I'm just sharing for you. It's a very common thing. It is that torturous, and Oliveira let the other guy do it. He could have got him out of it. He could have called him. He could have woken him up. I don't know when this happened. I don't know when he realizes I'm not going to make weight. At some point, though, there's a breaking point that Oliveira goes through. It's not as though, just so you understand, it's not as though he shows up on location, starts pulling weight, and the lowest he got to was 144. It's not like that. No. He definitely got under 44. He probably even got under 40. At some point, he broke. I'm done. Now, I'm done doesn't mean I'm not going to lose any more weight. It only means that if you are on weight, if you break and you haven't made weight, you start drinking, you start rehydrating. What difference does it make? What difference does it make if you're a quarter pound over or you're 12 pounds over? There's no difference. The punishment is the same. 10% and an onus that goes on your opponent to rise to the occasion and accept the fight anyway. I'm not kicking Oliveira when he's down. This is a bad spot for anybody. It's a dick move. And I'm just kind of letting you know a little bit about how that feels if you're in the opponent's standpoint, and particularly when you're talking about 135 pounds, when you spot the other guy 9 pounds, you're now not just spotting him 9 pounds. You're spotting him, what is that mathematically? That's about 3.5 to 4% body weight. It's a very meaningful advantage for one and disadvantage for the other, which didn't have to be there. A sportsman like Ortega, like Tiki, would have called. They would have called and told you, you too can weigh 144 pounds.